What if you invested $1,000 in Ergo today? What's up? My name is Caroline and this is Wealth in Progress, where you'll learn how to make passive income with cryptocurrencies. In this video, we'll look at what could happen if you invested $1,000 in Ergo today. So first of all, we're going to quickly look at what Ergo even is, why I think it has some huge potential for the future, and then we'll get into some price predictions and see what could happen with your $1,000 if you decided to invest that in Ergo today. Now, one more thing before we get started. I'm currently working on a membership site where you can get tons of super valuable information, such as trading analysis, on-chain analysis, market signals, the newest crypto gems, and much more. If that's something you're interested in, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter in the description down below so you can be the first to be notified when the membership is live. Alright, let's dive in. Now, as always, this is no financial advice. This is for informational and entertainment purposes only. So always do your own research and only invest money that you can afford to lose. So if you can lose $1,000, then keep on watching. Okay, so what is Ergo? Let's look at the Ergonaut Handbook. So you can read here. Ergo is an unspent transaction output UTXO based proof of work blockchain for smart contracts that is built on its own unique language, ErgoScript. Okay, so that basically has everything in it. So for one, it's a blockchain for smart contracts. So that basically makes it a competitor or makes it similar to Cardano or to Ethereum. These are infrastructure blockchains that will allow other projects to launch on top of them, to run on top of them, and generally smart contracts to be built on top of them. But that's not all. It's actually quite different from those other two that I've just mentioned and from basically all the other ones I've seen so far. So the main difference is it's built on proof of work. So that is like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also built on proof of work. Ethereum currently is still on proof of work but will transition to proof of stake, and Cardano is working on proof of stake. Now, generally, proof of work doesn't have the best reputation because, especially for Bitcoin, it needs a ton of electricity for the miners to operate their computers. Now, Ergo is in many ways optimized though. Their kind of proof of work is much more energy efficient, so they've made a ton of upgrades to their system, and this makes it much lighter and much more energy efficient. And the reason that they use proof of work is actually for security reasons. Let's quickly look at that. So there's an article on the Ergo platform that actually explains that very well. So we can read here, although proof of stake is a very secure protocol, some smart contracts may require the consensus theoretic security features of proof of work for some of their execution. The larger a dApp is, if it is doing collateralized DeFi, the larger the stake it has at its disposition, and since it is not yet fully resolved in the proof of stake consensus, it is a weak point. Ergo brings the proven confidence of proof of work with enough security for all more complex dApps implementations on top of the standard UTXO model, rather than translating very natural cryptographic concepts integrated with proof of work to proof of stake, where the game theory implications of the protocol are entirely different. Okay, so this is all getting very technical very quickly, so let's just stick to the basics. So what they essentially said was, okay, proof of work is more secure and we need that for some applications in the DeFi space. So why not take a optimized kind of proof of work and make it compatible with the UTXO model that Cardano, the extended UTXO model that Cardano uses, so they can basically work together, they can partner. Alright, so back to our basic description. So we've covered proof of work, and that is a blockchain for smart contracts. Now, the other important part are that it is based on an unspent transactions output, and it's actually not only that, but it actually works on the same kind of extended UTXO that Cardano uses. So that's also an optimized version of that. And what you can also see is that it's built with its own unique language, ErgoScript. So this is its own blockchain. It's not built as a smart contract on another blockchain. It wants to be a base layer infrastructure blockchain for other projects. Okay, so why is that all important? Well, there are a couple of reasons, and they mainly revolve around Cardano. For one, their main developer, Alexander Chepernoy, hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. So he has actually been with Cardano for a while. He was one of the main developers for Cardano, and he's now the founder of Ergo. But not only that, let's look at his profile quickly. What you can see here, so he's the co-founder of Ergo, but he has also co-founded smartcontract.com, and that is now Chainlink. So we'll get into why this is important in a minute. But first of all, So he was a very important person for Cardano, and actually Charles Hoskinson, so that is Cardano's founder, he has mentioned that a couple of times. So that brings me on to the second very important part, and that is that Ergo is actually kind of a testnet, or has been, I think it still is, kind of a testnet for Cardano. So they like to test things out on Ergo first, and the main reason for that is that they're compatible because of their extended UTXO model. So according to Charles, Ergo is the only other blockchain that has the same kind of model, and that makes it compatible and makes it usable for them to test on top of that. So that of course makes it a very tight partnership, because Cardano depends on Ergo to test their new developments first before they run it on the mainnet. Now, another thing that they're well known for in the space are their Oracle pools. So they offer a bunch of things. Since they're a base blockchain platform, they don't only offer smart contracts, they also have Oracle pools in place. So I found an interesting article here that actually explains very well what oracles do. So it says here, oracles in blockchain serve as messenger agents connecting two distinct points of data sources while guarding the reliability of the information. So these are also smart contracts, and that's exactly what they do. So they get data from one point to another, and they make it reliable and trustless. So the most common kind of oracle right now is Chainlink. That is basically Ethereum's main oracle, and it has grown in size quite dramatically over the past few months and years. So if we look at CoinMarketCap, it's currently number 12 with a market cap of about 10 billion. And this is probably just the beginning, because data exchange, and especially reliable, trustless data exchange, will be very important in the DeFi space, or generally in the crypto space. So this is what what Ergo is mainly compared to. So it's mainly known for their oracle pools, or for being an oracle, or that it could be an oracle for Cardano. So as you can see, Ergo had its all-time high actually back in 2018. So it went over $20, and now also in 2021, let's have a look, it also went almost to $20. So compared to that, it's still quite a bargain to pick it up at around $8. And while we're speaking of the price, let's look at some price predictions. So what we can see now is that it has a market cap of just over 250 million. So that's still pretty low. You can also see it's not even ranking in the top 100, it's actually ranking 156 right now, and that really shows that it's really totally under the radar right now. It's probably one of the most solid projects, especially around Cardano or in the Cardano ecosystem, and simply the fact that Charles Hoskinson sees it as a very good project, as a top 10 project, speaks for itself. So this could be a hidden gem, and it might be a really good time to pick it up. Of course, this is no financial advice, but this is still at a very good price point. So let's look at where this could potentially go. Now, as I've said, the main competitor right now is Chainlink, because that's what it's most often compared to because of their oracle pools. So Ergo could be seen as Cardano's Chainlink, or as Cardano's oracle pools, and if that's the case, and if Cardano manages to become one of the top 3 coins and really stay there, maybe even overtake Ethereum, that could totally happen for Ergo, as that Ergo could become their Chainlink. So let's just compare it to Chainlink for a moment. Alright, so this sits here at a market cap of over 10 billion. So let's just take that as the first assumption, or the first calculation for a price prediction. So if Ergo got to where Chainlink is right now, and Chainlink is not at its all-time high, far from it actually, it went to $52, so that's more than a 2x from here. But let's just take its current calculation, let's just take its current valuation just as an example. So to get to 10 billion, that would be about a 40x. Alright, now if you bought $1,000, if you put $1,000 in Ergo today, so that would be $1,000 divided by 838, where is right now? So you will get about 119 Erg token. Okay, so let's take our first calculation and say that it would have the current market cap that Chainlink has. $8.38 times 40, because then we would be at a market cap of about 10 billion. So that means that one Erg token would be worth about $335. Okay, so let's multiply that by our 119 tokens. You would be at almost $40,000 with $1,000 investment. Pretty cool, I would say. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a probable scenario for this year. This depends on a lot of factors. I could see that this could happen till the end of this bull run. But as we've seen now, this is a very different bull run from the last one that we've seen. So it could be that it takes a lot more smaller sections of bull and bear markets. So this could take maybe another year or two until we reach this kind of price point. Now let's do one more calculation based on Charles Hoskinson's prediction. So he said he could easily see Ergo as a top 10 project. How exciting would that be? Now let's quickly look at what the top 10 is valuated right now. That's Uniswap at about 16.5 billion. So for Ergo to reach this kind of market cap, it would have to make about a 66x. So we've got our $1.38 that is right now times 66, so we would end up with one ERG token being worth $553. So we'll again multiply that by our stack of 119, so you would be quite a bit higher already. You would end up with $65,816 off of $1,000 investment. Now I know these numbers sound insane, but it is totally possible for that to happen in the next couple of years. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but definitely in the next couple of years. Another thing we need to take into consideration is that the whole market is still far away from its last all-time high, and this won't be the all-time high of all times. It will go higher at some point. So if we just assume that the market at least doubles again, because then we would be more or less a bit higher than the last all-time high. And then if we again take this number 10 position that Ergo could theoretically go to, then we could just double that. So the last amount, we could just double that. And you would even end up with over $130,000. So, I mean, maybe it doesn't happen very quickly. It won't just happen in the next couple of months. But even if it takes 5 years for that, I mean, how crazy is that? Putting in $1,000, ending up with 130? Yes, please. Alright, so that's it for this video. This is what could happen if you invested $1,000 in Ergo today. Now, of course, this is no guarantee. It could develop in a totally different direction. It could always go to zero. You never know that. But if you have $1,000 to spare, why not try your luck and invest it into Ergo? Alright, and don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter to be the first to be notified when the membership is live. If you like this video, hit the like button down below, share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!